Hi everyone, my name is PraladNeupane. Thank you for being here. Today we're talking about our final capstone project. The project is a summarizer. What summarizer does it like it collect the information from the articles or the data source you provide and give you the bullet points or the short key points of what is being discussed in there, why it is really important and why did is like I do read lots of newspaper and article about sports and politics and other nature and other articles, and I find myself sometimes why would I read this paragraph doesn't contain any useful information, and it has been it has been like the information can be processed better, and we can do better with using machine learning tool to build the abstraction and or summarization, which will really focus on main points and save our time and productive increase our productivity. This is the one example. This article, I take it from CNN, which describes about our current president and his infrastructure plan, and that article has 424 words, and I was able to reduce that to 104 by using the summarizer. And these kind of genre article which are really built by adding lots of extra content which I really don't need, and my focus is to reduce those and create a specific specific summary and utilize it. So you can use summarizer in many different application. One of the application is professional receive lots of emails, like one survey shows that professional tend to receive 121 emails per day, and if they read all the email, it would take them 3 or 4 hours at least, and lots of time and effort to just to go to all the emails, and that's not simply possible. And when they skip those emails, they are missing very important, they might be missing very important like points or very important tasks in there, or they cannot go to all the lengthy email, and it's just not feasible or practical to do all those read all those emails. And they can use this summarizer tool to input all the emails they receive, and it will create a short summary of 5 or 6 line of like what is the what was being talked and what is the important point in there. And another application is it can be used on market research, like if any company A or B is it be release a product, and they can use when they release a product, they would have lots and lots of review from market and customers, and they can use summarizer to get the general perspective of what customer like about the product and what customer did not. And they can also find out about what are the positive comments and what are the negative comments, and they can also uh, build an idea of what was their product goal, and do the customer are actually talking about the product goals. um, I built the system using Amazon Web Services, which is really cool cloud provider. I use 7 different AWS services to build this system. The data is collected in a virtual machine using small Python programs, and it processed through different AWS application for analytics and machine learning purpose. Lastly, I want to thank Mr. Jagat for from AWS for helping me to build the summarizer. As you can see, the main points are you can save time and lots of time and effort to if you're by using summarizer, and it can improve your productivity by reducing the unwanted text you need to read. I'd like to get some question. Feel free to ask me any questions.
Prahlad, another excellent and valuable project. So we'll be talking in class on Tuesday about professor equity in products that will launch this year. And we'll also be talking about how we can make this, bring this to market. So I'm really thrilled that you were able to do this entire project on AWS. That's just really amazing. Tell us just a little bit about your experience working with AWS.
Okay, so it was really really educational. You can do like when I work with the AWS, I found like you can do many stuff, and the AWS is really mature in system. They have lots of tools and technologies that are really useful for business, and am really like I was really excited to learn all those stuff that I can do with this technology. And one of the main things is it can be automated from 90 to 100%. Like you don't for my API for my data pipeline, I didn't have to perform any actions, and it is automated at 100%. So that's the thing I really like about AWS.
That's awesome. Now, Michael has asked a question in the chat that you may not have seen, and then we have a couple in the Q&A session.
Mhm.
Michael wants to know, ML models have a tough time detecting satire, and I'm not sure your model predicts that. How would you go about building basically the same model with satire as another metric?
Okay, so you can use this. I don't know what do you mean by satire. And
Do you mind if I
Satire,
unmute my mic and
yes.
explain? Okay. So basically, the way I understood your project, and correct me if I'm wrong, please
Mhm.
do. But basically, you're looking at how articles lean a certain political
Mhm.
um, direction, right? So a lot of news sources, particularly like the Onion. I forget the one Noah mentioned at one point. But the Onion to like the big one. Um, they'll make completely ridiculous stories that for a lot of people are obviously like it's obvious that they're like not being serious. But like machine learning models can't predict that. Um, and if and like a lot of those machine learning models classify that satire as if it's real news. So that's basically what I'm asking is how would you go about predicting news sources or bias that's not actually the bias of that person,
Mhm.
um, but like um, but like so, but like basically them trying to be jokes cons, if you will.
So there is a way to do it, and I want to touch about like how you process the information or article. And in traditional, there is a two method like document to vector and glob to vector. That I'm using glob to vector to figure out from whole content of the article. Like if you read one article, the glob to vector actually it goes to the relationship. Like if there is like mention like kings, then there should be like queens and males and females. If there is like some articles what you can do is like you can use bag of word to train and create the sort satire things and map those things into model.
So basically, if I understand correctly, you're saying look at basically reading between the lines of what somebody's saying, and that sort of reading between the lines is what you're
Yeah.
predicting in the model in
Yes,
layman's
yes.
terms.
Yes, you need to understand the scenario about like
Yeah.
which context it has been using. So if it is being for satire, then you can use bag of word to add those word into the system and train it, and you use as like that.
Thanks, Balad.
Okay,
Good
so
presentation.
I'm going to some of the Q&A.
so Dr. Phillips actually said that your answer to Michael's question addressed his question. But if
Okay.
you want to add something more to it, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it actually. You need to have some form of pre-trained module to really, if you want to modify how the system perceive things, you need to modify how system works. So that's really it. Okay, so can you find about the okay. Dr. Philos, can you do you see a case when some summarization result in a mischaracterization of original message? Yes, one time, like at the beginning, um, I had my model overfeed, and it was collecting more information than that the article actually had, and I had to go back and use some loss function to actually downgrade it or like correct it. Yes. So Dr. Bradbury asked, give us some more details on how you use AWS. So let me go back to the pipeline that I built. Okay. So as you can see, I have a virtual machine here, which runs on EC2, and it goes to the API. Like you can use, you can basically have a data. You can basically at the end of the API, you can basically have like text, or it can be news API, or it can be like Gmail API. And what you can do is like I have a small Python program in EC2 that calls the API and collect those text file into the folder. That folder is being listened by Kinesis Firehose. Kinesis Firehose basically is like kind of funnel. It looks constantly looks into the particular folder and collect the information if there is a new file in that folder. It's basically a kind of like it's kind of like doing creating path for a file, and then Kinesis Firehose puts those data into the S3. And in after it is being like put into the SD, you can put into the analytical tools like funnel into Glue, then Athena, and use a Tableau desktop or Tableau prep to like modify or create a visualization. And you can use a proper machine learning model. You can use S3 as a data source, and use like machine learning model to create output. Okay, what are the questions?
So Prahlad, Dr. Sigmund has an interesting comment here about whether maybe Congress could use this, and they'd actually read the bills before they vote on them. So you never know. I think you and I can make some money on this.
Yes.
Amanda wants to know, when would a company prefer the summarizer rather than sentiment analysis?
uh, One thing I want to mention about when we should not use summarizer is if you are talking about step-by-step procedure and educational like description, the company can use this to like do the market research. One of the best example would be like they can do market research to uh, from, or like what is the general discussion, like what is the electrical car, like general people conception about electrical car, like they want to know like do people really want to buy electrical car or not. They can use a summarizer and not sentiment analysis to like figure out what they have been talking or like or commenting about it. So okay, the next question from Dr. Phillips. I think your answer to my question has addressed my question. Okay.
So we're
Uh,
actually down to our last question here. Travis Smith wants to know, what challenges did you face running your application on AWS?
so my biggest challenges was configuring Firehose. It took me 3 or 4 days, and I couldn't figure out exactly how it like pull the data from Firehouse and put it into the S3. That was kind of challenging. Other than that, AWS was really well documented, and there are lots of resources online, and I didn't feel any obstacle in. I didn't find any. I didn't run into any obstacles.
Excellent. We have one last question from Nancy Artis. She wants to know if your model is usable for other types of text, like a textbook, which I'm sure students would really be interested in, nonfiction, history, or fiction.
Yes, you can basically use any kind of text and put it into the system. I wanted to add a little bit on that. Suppose like if you are putting whole book, that won't be good for like getting summarization. But if you put one chapters from the book, then it will give you pretty good understanding of like the key points in the like particular chapter. Yes.
Great. Excellent project, Prahlad. Thank you for answering these challenging questions.